Karma will come and really bite you in the ass. If you don't know, now you know. Okay. If that's not black excellence, I don't even know what to say. What it is, what it ain't, it's your girl Umbrella, and I am back with another video. Okay, in today's video we are getting into, we're going to do Billie Holiday's funeral slash burial. I thought about doing this video because in my research for the last video, the Celebrities Take Control Billie Holiday video, if you didn't go watch that, you might want to click out of this right now and go watch that because it's lit over there on that video. But for this video, I did do I did similar research. The research that I did for the last video, I actually stumbled upon this information, and I thought that it would be better if I just put it in a separate video. So I am going to be talking about how Billie Holiday was buried and everything like that. So I'm just going to start off from where I left off in the last video. So if you're ready, make sure that you like, comment below, and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you're following along and you got some good comments for me. I did do a video like this before with the Frankie Lyman video. I did talk about his tombstone. I think I did 2 videos about his burial and his tombstone because I just thought it was interesting in how some of these celebrities have been buried. So I might continue this or make it a segment. I just haven't figured out a name for it yet. So if you have any suggestions for the names of this segment, specifically talking about like celebrities and how they're buried, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just call it Celebrities After Death. That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna just roll with that right now. So alright, so basically we're going to get into this video. Make sure you're following along. Let's go. Okay, so how we left off, sorry if it's shaking. How we left off in the last video, talking about Billie Holiday and how she died in the hospital from symptoms related to her drug use, and how she had $750 strapped to her leg, and how Louis McKay was her last husband. And they were separated, but they weren't divorced. So technically he was still her husband at the time of her death, and he had control over her estate. So now that we know that, we know, fast forwarding to like her funeral, he did not pay for the funeral, and I did say that in the last video. He did not pay for the funeral. He didn't pay for the burial or anything like that. So actually a fan of Billie Holiday's named Michael Grace, and apparently he's some rich guy. He actually paid for her funeral, and he wanted to arrange for her to be buried next to Babe Ruth, and he offered to pay for that, but it said that he communicated with Louis McKay, and Louis McKay didn't want that. Donald Clark, the author of a Billie Holiday biography called Wishing on the Moon, he actually said that he thinks that Louis McKay chose to bury her in a certain cemetery because, or not bury her in New York's Woodlawn Cemetery, where most of the famous people or famous jazz musicians are buried, like Miles Davis and Duke Ellington. He thinks that Louis McKay did not arrange for that because he wanted to bring Billie Holiday's body or her burial situation to a place that was cheaper. And I did say in the last video that he took most of her money, so I doubt that there was a lot of money left, but she did have royalties coming in. So if he chose to spend her money different kinds of ways, because I don't understand that. We all know that as we see celebrities and, you know, unfortunately they pass away, we all see that their album sales go up, and which means, you know, it's more money coming in. So if a certain person, depending on who you leave in charge of your estate, if a certain person is in charge and, you know, they're greedy, then they're not going to do what is necessary. People even do that to their own family, like, which is sad and unfortunate, but it's true. It's like people that aren't rich do that to their own family. Like, if they get paid, or if there's some money left, they want to keep it for themselves instead of actually putting it towards the funeral arrangements, which is messed up. But that's what people do, and that's what Louis McKay. That's what I believe Louis McKay did. I feel like he took most of her money instead of just putting it towards the funeral arrangements and the burial. It would have been just that simple, you know. It would have been that simple. It would have case closed. It would have been nice, you know. It would have been well deserved for her to, you know, have that. For her to have a beautiful, elaborate, you know, tombstone as well. It said that a year later after her death, she didn't even have a tombstone. So it's like, what was he really doing? Like, it's not only bad that he took her money in real life, like when she was alive, but he took her money after death, and that's something that karma will come and really bite you in the ass, because you don't do that. You don't do that to somebody. You don't do that to people that have looked out for you. You know what I'm saying? You don't do that to people that were good people and were good to you. You don't just use them after death, okay? And that's one thing that Louis McKay did, is he used her, okay? He used her after death. He probably, like I said in the last video as well, that he just probably just waited until, you know, whatever happened, and he ended up getting married and having kids with somebody else, but he used the money until he couldn't use it no more, okay? New York's Woodland Cemetery is where a lot of jazz musicians were buried, like Duke Ellington and Miles Davis. She wasn't buried there, but she was buried next to her mother, St. Raymond's Cemetery. So I do think that that's nice. I do think that she probably would have wanted that, because something that did highly affect her in her career was her mother's death. I feel like that made her plummet a little bit more into drug use, as well as, you know, experiencing a tragedy as that. I mean, just the pain of having your mother die is a huge, huge, huge grief. So I can imagine, like, it just made her feel worse than she already did. And it was hard for her to move on from that. So I think that she would have liked being buried next to her mother. I do think it's scandalous that that she didn't have a tombstone, or it wasn't marked either a year later. So that's kind of shady as well. So I really do feel like something happened with Louis McKay. It was a lot of sketchiness going on, especially because Michael Grace paid for her funeral arrangements, and it's like he tried to stop Michael from actually doing some really good things for Billie Holiday. I do feel like her resting place is nice, and it's good to be buried next to your mother, especially if that was something that she would have wanted. Probably so, you know. At the same time, I do feel like it would have been great too for her to be buried in the cemetery with all the great jazz musicians as well. I feel the same way about like Frankie Lyman too. I feel like he should have been buried where, you know, I feel like his burial situation is bad too. If you want to go watch that video, just watch that video. I'll link it below if you want to watch that. But yeah, I just feel like we all have to be really careful about who we leave in charge of our estates and, you know, our money, you know, when it's our time. I know, like, talking about death and stuff like that is very scary, but I do feel like it's necessary to watch out for who we leave in charge, because you never know how they're going to treat you or treat your assets once you're gone. And I'm hoping that this is a good resting place for her. I just wish, because some people in the article that I read said that the cemetery is really, really far from New York. Like, it's really, really far, and it's hard for people to get out there to come actually visit her, you know, whereas they could go to the Woodland Cemetery and see all the great musicians, and pay homage to them. And it's, you know, it's more quality, it's upscale, it's like closer to New York, so you can get there, it's not too far, you know what I'm saying? So I do think that that would have been better for her as well, so that her fans could pay respect, and some family probably too. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. I'm kind of 50-50 with it. I do think that it's good that she's buried next to her mother. I do think that's good. But I do feel like Louis McKay could have did a lot better with the funeral arrangements instead of just stealing her money. I do feel like Louis McKay was being shady, but I do feel like she was, her being buried next to her mother was a good, thoughtful thing. And it ended up being thoughtful, even though he was trying to be a scam artist or whatever. But I do think too that it would have been great for her to be buried in the park with all the greats, because she was such a great, wonderful part of Black history, of the jazz culture. And I do think that she needs, you know, she needs her flowers there as well. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know how you feeling about this topic. It's Ombre Alert. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will be back in the next video. Bye.